What is up, guys? Connor here, back with another video, changing it up a little bit. I'm inside. Wanted to kind of make this video to update you guys on what is happening with the Celica. Essentially what happened with the build is that I had everything ready to go in for a tune on the Greta E-Manage ECU, the piggyback that is. And when I went to go move forward with it, my tuner kind of backed out. He wasn't very comfortable with it anymore, and that's the last thing that I want to do on this car. So what I ended up doing was I ended up doing it myself. A lot of things kind of went in the past few weeks. I learned how to tune a car. I used my knowledge from my actual workplace to kind of go through with that. If you guys don't know, I work for GE, doing a lot of work in turbines and stuff. And so moving that information towards kind of the car scene, I was able to kind of identify what was needed with air fuel ratios and injector sizing and all that sort of stuff that went in. I actually made a video a little bit on how to do it, but I wasn't very comfortable releasing that just because it's not my job to do it. So the information that I'm telling you guys in that video makes sense, but doing it yourself may not work the way I did it. I actually had the car running the first time I got it going. I loaded up a map and kind of adjusted it for my car, and I'll actually throw in a clip right now of the car running for the first time, which is really exciting. So here that is. And it was good. The car ran. It didn't run very well going down the driveway. I tried to tune it a little bit. Didn't really have the availability to do it just because the computer that I was tuning with was actually a desktop. It wasn't a laptop. I didn't have it in the car. I had my laptop feeding me information, but I didn't have the tuning software on a laptop inside. So every time I had to tune, I had to get out of the car, I had to walk around, reset it, and kind of do that. It was just a little bit of a pain. So what I ended up doing was that I saved about 5 maps from that, each a little bit different for my archives, and I just have them ready to go if I need them. But what we did was we actually went full standalone. I ordered a full standalone ECU. It just arrived. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up with the build with the full standalone ECU instead. It's kind of unfortunate because 1, I wanted to save money on this build. 2, I also had that already. I didn't have to wait for it. But I think that down the long road, and long term, this is better for my car. I plan to keep this car for a long time, and I really do love it, and I want it done right, and I don't want to have to deal with kind of redoing the ECU, unplugging it so that it won't combat the piggyback. So I think that utilizing the standalone is the right way to go for us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and jump into what I did in the car. I'm gonna show you guys what I did, update you on where the project is, and I'm actually gonna just kind of pick up where the project kind of stopped in the videos and kind of show you how to install a PFC, that's a power commander from Apexi. That's going to go in there instead, and then we're just going to kind of continue the build there. I'm going to kind of wipe away everything that I did but explain it to you as I go. We'll see, but I hope you guys understand, and we're going to jump into that right now. I'll take you guys to the garage. And here we are inside the garage. A couple things have changed since the last time we've shot a video. This is a new camera. If you guys have noticed, it's a little bit more smooth. The audio is a little bit better. It's nighttime right now. I'm working on the car. We have a light set up so you guys that can see everything. Hopefully that helps out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through what I've done, where I've been in the project to kind of get you guys up to speed. Everything is installed supercharger wise. I think you guys have seen that. This AC hose is still waiting to get connected. I'm waiting to drive the car somewhere to get a custom one made that I can kind of tuck away. This is our new ECU. It's the Apexi Power Commander, or the Power FC right here. Here's our commander unit right there, and our data log unit is right behind here. So we're gonna plug this in. We're gonna kind of tether it into this and kind of make a train in series with those, run that inside the car, and then we'll have all of our information. Everything with the piggyback ECU was wired in. Here's a little bit of the wiring that you can see. Everything was just spliced in according to the diagram. It reused these plugs, so we just had to tap into the injector lines and wire them up and slice them up. The ECU is actually ran inside the car via this harness right here, but we're going to be ripping this out because we have the full standalone that just takes the space of the ECU right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to cut all these wires, get them free, get the plugs back to the original spec by soldering them to the original wires. And then I'm going to slide out this ECU and I'm going to install the standalone. I kind of made more work for myself here now that I've noticed it, because I do have to cut all these wires and get rid of the piggyback, but it'll be okay. This is a learning experience. We're doing this all myself in my garage, so it's good to learn now, I guess, get the experience to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these all up, get everything free. You can see I've already broken some of them off, and I'll check back in with you guys when I get that one done. Alright, and where we're at right now, I've done some work. I got rid of the other loom that I had installed in. We're back to the OEM harness here. Everything is soldered back up. You can see my heat shrinks are right here. This is a little bit messy, but we're going to clean it up with some tape. So we're back to normal here on this side. What we need to do is we actually need to unplug these wires here. This goes to the speed sensor inside, so if you guys don't have this one, that's why. I'm going to pull these aside, and we're actually going to take out this ECU right now. So this is the factory ECU. There's a couple of bolts that are down in here, and we should just be able to undo this one right here, and we should be able to undo some clips and then just pull this out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then get this one out so we can slide the PFC in there. And just like that, we undid this 10mm bolt right here. The whole ECU can just slide out from there. Just pull your wires aside, and this thing will just lift up and out. There's a clip on this side that you just need to adjust as you pull it out, and the whole thing should just come right out. And as I release this is our 2000 Toyota Celica ECU here. This is actually one of the best ones because it has one of the higher rev limiters for the US. So we have this one out. That can go away. You notice I took the battery tray out over there. What we're gonna do next is actually down in there, if you guys can see it, there's a bolt right here and a bolt over there that secure this whole tray. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm actually gonna undo these bolts and pull this tray out. We're gonna drill a hole on the side because we have the data logger and the commander that goes in on this. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of either running this without a lid like some people do, or tucking it through here, I'm actually just going to drill a hole outside of it so we can run right back into the firewall over here, and then we can have the commander inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo these bolts here, drill a hole in it, and then we'll be able to mount up everything a little bit easier. And it's now the next day. I'm here working on the car again. Have a little bit of time before I'm heading out of town for something tonight, just going to a little event, going to a concert. But what I figured I would do in the morning is kind of get this wired up and update you guys on where we're at. This is the PFC, the standalone computer. I have slid it in. Basically what ended up happening was that if you guys saw it, it had some foam on it because I did buy it used. So the foam sits down in there, it's all secure. I have the commander running down on this left side back in there where that port is. I ran the wire actually out this grommet instead of drilling a hole, so it kind of comes out where this the wiring harness comes out. I just have this tucked away and I cut this. I'm gonna retape this up. I'm gonna run this through the firewall so that we can have our data logger inside, and then that'll run to our commander, which will be inside as well. But all these wires are now soldered up. Everything is now reattached how it should be. I can put the cover on this and shouldn't worry about it. I'm not going to now, just in case one of these wires is wrong. All the colors are right, but you never know if there's a mistake, and I just don't want to bolt it up until I know everything is going to be running. Now, I actually connected this up and ran it this morning. I initialized it. It all worked. That means when you initialize these ECUs, that means that in their terms, it means that you deleted the map that was on it. What was on here, what I'm told, is that it was a 15 PSI map for like a turbo or something. We're gonna redo that. So I initialized it, it did connect, I had all the sensors working. So we're free to run this inside and get it all going. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna find a port inside the firewall that will fit this. I think somebody said that the steering rack was where they put theirs before. I'm gonna double check on that and see if there isn't anything that I can do. What I wanted to do was the same AC line back here, which is where I put the initial harness, but this wire is not long enough. What I need to do is I need to find a place, and I'll check back in with you guys when I get the opportunity. hoping that you guys can see this, but this is where I ran the cable for the ECU. So I actually disconnected it to run this side and leave the box inside. My initial plans were to leave the box outside, and I was going to mount it right here to like the strut tower, but I changed my mind. The box is going to go inside for the data log it. So what I did was I took this metal rod that I have, anything will work, a coat hanger or something like that, and I cut a hole down in that grommet, right down in here. It's actually a wiring harness grommet, it looks like. It actually goes right there. It's in the footwell, just like I showed you guys earlier when I installed the boost gauge. This is very similar to the same line. It's about 1 inch away from that one. It's a huge line. What I did was I just took a knife and I slit it a little bit, and I wedged this wire into, not wire, it's kind of just a rod, and I zip tied the end of the cable to it, just like that. So you guys can see right here, this is how I have it. I just pulled that back through, and that's how I ran my line. So I'm going to zip tie this over here to this line, run it up back into here where I had it, back into the ECU. That will be all waterproof inside the car. What we're going to do is we're going to mount this box right here up in the footwell, run the actual USB serial cord that uses to tune it, probably over to the passenger side, so that way we can have a laptop over in there. This will allow us to have this be waterproof. It's not going to get in any trouble in the engine bay. I was going to run it behind the engine, but I don't want to deal with the heat soak on this thing if it does end up ruining it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount this up with some 3M tape. I'm not going to drill it in or anything like that. It should be completely fine with 3M. Just going to do some big patches in the footwell up here. We'll be ready to initiate the ECU again, and I'll walk you guys through on how to actually get your ECU running so you can get your car running with a standalone. What is up, guys? It's a new day. I'm outside working on the car. Just figured I would film a little bit of an outro video for this video. I know it jumped around a crazy mass amount of times, and sorry I have not updated you guys on what's been going on with this thing, but I promise it'll all come together soon. I'm working on this car, trying to get it done, trying to film it, but it's just a little hard to film everything that's going on. But I'll update you guys on where we're at now. What I did yesterday was I ran that wire through the firewall over here. We ran our commander unit inside. Everything got ran inside the data log. It got ran in. That wire comes underneath here. It's zip tied, and it goes into this grommet here, which goes into your ECU. I changed around the ECU. I installed it in. Everything is set inside this box now. I ran over to this side. The belt is a little bit loose for my liking. I'm probably going to see if we can't order one that's a little bit smaller and try and squeeze it in here just to try. I don't know if you guys can see the play in this thing, but it has about almost 3/4 of an inch of play on it, and I think it needs to be a little tighter. When we start the car, there's like a mad squeaking, and I don't know if it's new or just because that's just how the belt is or what, but we're gonna look into this. That's another thing that needs to get updated. Some exciting things is that I actually got the car running, and it was really good. The idle was about 1500. I fixed it from the 4000 RPM idle earlier. The reason that it was doing that was actually because of the throttle cable right here. There are 2 nuts right here and right here that you can actually adjust your throttle cable right here on the 00 through 02 year models. Inside here on this section, we actually had an issue because this was not all the way down. The reason being was that this wire was a little tight, and as you can see, if you lift this up, that's what lets that gas in there and lets the air flow through and makes your RPMs go up, and mine was just slightly, like maybe right about in there, and that was 4000 RPMs that it was idling at. So we fixed that, got it idling good around 1500. I'll show you guys the inside of the car of what I did. Inside here, underneath the footwell, we installed the data log it, and it's just attached to my alarm system. It's just 3M'd on there, so it's not gonna move anywhere. It's not gonna go anywhere. I have this running down. This is my serial cable that goes to the laptop. I plug it in over there and I can read everything. The commander unit right now isn't actually working. This you can use to tune little fuel trims and kind of get a better indication or a better adjustment to a base map that comes with. Like if you order from MWR, you can kind of adjust things depending on your car for altitude and whatnot. But creating a whole new map is a lot easier with the data log it and kind of going through all your tunes and all your maps, which is what I plan to do with this car, is that I want to keep it in here and just kind of adjust anything that I need to do. That's our inside of the car. and everything is set up. I want to apologize again for how bad this video has kind of skipped around and this project in the last little bits of it, but doing the ECU tuning is not very exciting. Learning it for me is not very, it's very exciting for me, but filming it is not, and I don't know if you guys actually want to see that. If you do, let me know and I'll make a video on it and show you guys how I've done everything that I've done to make this car running. But for now, I will leave you guys with another clip of this car starting up and a little walk around of it running for where we're at. But I wanted to thank you guys for watching and helping me out with every one of my questions that I've kind of gone through and sticking by my side through this project, because it's amazing and it's daunting to do and daunting to film it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I appreciate the love. See you guys in the next one.